Hello everyone, welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. If you're new to the channel, where have you been? If you're not new to the channel and you haven't done as I asked so far, why haven't you done it? Please hit that subscribe button. That's what we want you to do. We want you to hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It gives you appreciating that you like the shows. Click the bell as well. Be notified of every bit of content that drops here on the Betting Weekly Studios, the fastest growing sports betting YouTube channel. Sports betting YouTube channel for sure on tennis and football. And obviously it's a big weekend coming up, big week coming up with the start of the Premier League. So you got the Premier League, you got the tennis. What more can you want? And what more can you want this morning on Sunday morning to be woken up at 9 o'clock in the morning with the smiling face of our senior ATP handicapper? It is Sean Calvert. Good Sunday morning. And I know I've got you up early today because I've got to go to a barbecue this afternoon. But I appreciate you getting up nice and early.
It's all right.
You don't look like you're very happy about being up this early.
I suppose I'm a bit like Alexander Bublik in that sense.
Yeah.
Or Tiafoe, we'll probably talk about later. Yeah, I'm not wild about an early start, I have to say. But I'd never let it be said that I don't do what needs to be done. And there we are. We're at it, and it's 9:30. We're away.
Yep. Just think of the day you can have. You can relax in the garden with the family. You can take you can go for a walk. You don't have to be up at 10 o'clock. You're missing out on the opportunities. School holidays, big bliss. You've got a fantastic day to look forward to.
You've put a few words in there. You've put relax, family, and school holidays in the same little section there. That's not going to be happening. Lagan's going to be doing something. Unless he's got something finite to do, like we said, we're doing this at 11 or 12 or whatever. He just starts rolling around and it's not pleasant. So yeah, as soon as I finish this, we'll try and get him to do something.
Maybe go back to bed and let Mrs. look after him. That could be the best option. You've been an early start for you. Anyway,
that won't work.
We do have some matches. The tournament in Cincinnati is underway finally. We had the return of Jannik Sinner yesterday, who looked absolutely incredible. Again, fantastic performance from him. The market is dominated by Alcaraz and Sinner, the returning top two in the world. We haven't probably got the data yet, Sean, in terms of the course bit. But what did you think of it? It looked pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I know Alcaraz said it was a bit slower, but not for me. I mean, he's playing, so he should know better than me. He's out there, but...
Yeah. What does he know?
Sometimes the players don't. I've said so many times when one player said, this is really quick, and another one's come off the same court and gone, oh, it's really slow. They sometimes don't. They don't get it right. They sometimes say what they want it to be or whatever. But for me, it looks pretty quick to me. I would say it looks slightly bouncier than usual. That's the only thing I would say from looking at it. Normally, the ball kind of skids through the court a bit here. But all the courts are different. It's had a total revamp. There's so many courts. I was watching yesterday. I was watching the Fonseca against Davidovich Fokina match. That was on what looks like a new court. But they've done that annoying thing where you can only watch from the sides. There's no behind the baseline seats on that particular court. Obviously there is on the main stadium, so that would annoy me. But that's a personal matter. It looks quick. It looks bouncy than usual. Tommy Paul said, and I quote, "Anyone that says this isn't quick is crazy." So he, by definition, therefore thinks that Alcaraz is crazy. Alcaraz didn't say it was slow. He said it was slower than last year, and maybe he means by like 5% or something. But it looks a similar pace to sort of the Toronto tournament that we saw last week. But as I say, for me, it's a little bit bouncier than we've seen in previous editions here.
And the weather forecast looks pretty good. Very hot today, very hot tomorrow, hot on Tuesday. A bit of rain around on Wednesday, but it's hot, humid conditions as you would expect in Cincinnati as well.
It's always pretty much the same in Mason, Ohio, isn't it? This time of year, the only difference is sometimes you get some thunderstorms and then a bit of rain attached to that. But yeah, it's hot and humid. It's always the same here.
There are matches this evening if you want to head across to the Bet Rivers website. Have a look at the games. Obviously, we've reached the third round already tomorrow. Second round matches are in action today on Sunday. If you download the app, you'll be able to see the matches if you want to have a bet on those matches. And if you do bet on those matches, you'll be able to live stream the matches from Cincinnati on your mobile, your tablet, or your home computer. We have 4 matches we're going to concentrate on, and they are all for tomorrow. We do not know the order of play as of yet because we record this on Sunday, but these matches will be played on Monday, and the order of play starts at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Our first match sees a player in Adrian Mannarino who's looked pretty good this week. He looked pretty good in qualification. He's had 2 big wins against Thompson and Mahach. He done us a favour against Thompson. We bet him. Big line movement in that match. Yeah. Big line movement for Mannarino. He's up against Tommy Paul, and you did say when we did that show last time we spoke that Tommy Paul was nursing a bit of an injury. He didn't play, has made his return since Wimbledon with a win over Martinez. Straight sets, but you would expect him to win that. It was quite comprehensive. It was a 6-2, 6-2 victory. But this might be a little bit of a test for him. Two players have met twice before, one win apiece. Last time they met was in Paris in 2024, where Mannarino won in straight sets. Tommy Paul won their first meeting at Wimbledon, also in straight sets back in 2022. Very heavy favourite in American here, though, with Bet Rivers, minus 770, plus 510 Adrian Mannarino. 5.5 is the spread, 19.5 the games. Does seem cheap, that 19.5. And there will be about 35 different markets available on the Bet Rivers website when this match starts tomorrow. Tommy Paul, minus 770. You got to risk $770 to win $100, and totals at 19.5. Doesn't look good. Doesn't sit right by me, that.
It might be all right if he was in prime form and Mannarino was playing like Mannarino was earlier in the year. Then you might say, okay, fair enough. But this is very disrespectful and a bit wrong, I think, to be honest. I mean, Mannarino, all right, he's old now, 37 years of age, and a lot of people, myself included, had kind of written him off like a few months back because he couldn't buy a win. But now he's in great form, and the conditions suit him here. It's quick. He's played well here in the past. He's a classic confidence player, Mannarino. As I've said before, when he's in a slump, he's in a slump, and when he's flying, he's flying. There's not much in between with Mannarino, and right now he's confident. If we look at what he's done in the last month on outdoor hard, this does include qualies, but they're still a decent level. A lot of these were at main level as well. 75% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 112. Now that's not a player who's right at the dying embers of his career. It's a player who's having a bit of a resurgence at the minute, and he's running on confidence, and everything he's doing is coming off, and everything's coming easy to him, and he's in a great frame of mind. He's beaten Jordan Thompson and Mahak easily. He's won 50% of return points at this tournament so far, and if you can return well here in Cincinnati, that's half the battle. A lot of the players will tell you it's tough to return here because the balls fly. There's a bit of altitude there, those light balls, the Wilson US Open balls, and it is hard to return, but not for Mannarino, who won half the return points, which is massively impressive. All right, Jordan Thompson wasn't fit probably, or certainly wasn't 100% match ready, but I'm not sure what the excuse is for Mahak. He's had a lot of injuries, but you wouldn't expect him to go down as easily as that to Mannarino. And he's also serving well. He's held his own serve 94% of the time, so you can't pick any holes in Mannarino's form at the minute. All right, he got beat by Ben Shelton at Toronto or Washington, whichever one it was. But Shelton's gone on to win the tournament. You can't really argue with that. And he played really well, Mannarino, when he beat Tommy Paul in Paris, Bercy, at the end of last season. He was a big underdog then as well. Plus 450 he was that day, and he won in straight sets, 6-3, 7-5, Mannarino. So he'll fancy this, Adrian Mannarino. And if we look at what these guys have done in Cincinnati, if you just look at the numbers, you would say Mannarino's had the better of it here. 53% win rate in the main draw here. The service points won and return points won, total of 101. Tommy Paul, 50% win rate and a total of 100. He's had a bit of a patchy record here, Tommy Paul. Sometimes he does pretty well, sometimes he doesn't. And perhaps the key thing here is that he is coming back from injury, Tommy Paul. It was listed as an abdominal. I'd heard that it was a hernia. It's not a small issue. He's had quite a lot of time off court. And coming back, you're entitled to be up a little bit up and down as you find your rhythm again. You're not just going to click straight into it and suddenly be at the top of your form again after all that time out. It might only take him a couple of matches or 2 or 3 matches, but this is only his second match. I mean, the first one was against Martinez, who was thoroughly outmatched and looked a bit injured as well, so I wouldn't put too much store by that. I just think this is a big price on Mannarino. Just for him to win a set, it's plus 170 with Bet Rivers, which is going to be my bet here. I just think that's the way things are at the minute with Paul coming back from injury and Mannarino flying. I just think that's a bit of value for sure.
Yeah. So our first official play is Mannarino to win at least a set plus money with Bet Rivers. We can see the over 19.5. He can use that up to 20.5.
When I do that, though, the underdog wins 6-3, 6-4. That's happened, and you'd be absolutely seething. But yeah, you're right. It's pretty unlikely that he's going to win like that. But yeah, looks cheap. Yeah.
But there's an angle in there on the Mannarino Tommy Paul match. That match will be tomorrow. Head across to the BetRivers website and the app to find out what time it starts. The order of players, as said at the top of the show, isn't out as of yet, but it will be played tomorrow. Another match that's being played tomorrow on Monday, another third round clash, is the match between Felix Auger-Aliassime. Disappointing last week in Toronto. He got beat by Mannarino. He's up against Rinderknech, who's someone who I've watched in recent weeks, and he's played quite well, actually. He's doing all right at the moment after Rinderknech. Felix Auger-Aliassime has won their only previous meeting, which was on the grass in Mallorca. I'm sure Sean was at the match. 7-5, 6-3, Auger-Aliassime won that match. He is a fairly heavy favourite here again, though, minus 250. $2 for Rinderknech. Spread here is 2.5, and the total is a much higher 23.5. If you look at the hard court form for the two of them, you can see why Felix is a heavy favourite. 15 wins and 7 losses in 2025, compared to Rinderknech, who's just 3 wins and 9 losses. So the head-to-head favours Rinderknech. The head-to-head favours Felix. The bookies at BetRivers fancy Felix as well, and the hard court form fancies Felix as well. Are we sticking with all them, or are we bucking that trend?
I think it's excuse me. I think it's difficult this with Rinderknech, because when he's in form and he has the conditions that suit him, he's very dangerous. He obviously beat Zverev at Wimbledon. That's the match a lot of people will remember. But it's slightly annoying because I was tempted with him in the first round against Borges. I think he was about 2.75 or at plus 175, that sort of price, I think. I thought that seems a little bit big, but then I looked at the hard court data that Rinderknech has had over the last year or two, and it's really poor. I think his service points won and return points won total was like 93 or something. Borges was on about 102. I couldn't really make a statistical case for it. I just thought it was more of a feeling, and as it happens, the feeling was right. And he needs to, excuse me, he needs to get his hard court form going, and he has. When he's dangerous, when he's fit, when he's confident, in these conditions, he's tough. He's beaten Borges, he's beaten Casper Ruud. Okay, those two might like slower conditions, but not really Borges. He's played really well in quicker conditions over the years. And look what he's done this Cincinnati. Rinderknech, 96% holds of serve, 80% first serve points won. I know it's only 2 matches, but against 2 very good players. Felix just had that one match, 100% holds, 77% first serve points won. Both guys winning 71 to 73% of all their service points. But interestingly, both have been returning well as well so far, which you wouldn't expect, particularly with the guy, particularly Rinderknech. You wouldn't expect him to be winning about 37% of return points, but he has so far, which is great for him. Just looking at some of the stats that have come in at this tournament so far, 35% of the matches so far have gone over 10.5 games in set 1. That would give you odds of about 2.86 plus 186 if you were just betting that blind. And you are going to get around about 2.7 plus 170 that this one goes over 10.5 in set 1. It just seems pretty likely that would be the case, given their stats, given the style of play, given that Rinderknech is confident at the minute. Felix, you never really know. I took a chance on him last week in Toronto, and he made an absolute mess of it, as did his mate Shapovalov. But I think I said on Sunday, well, not Sunday because it wasn't Sunday, the start of the tournament, whichever day we did it, Thursday, wasn't it? He'll probably go on and win this tournament now because it's a week later. That's generally what happens. But he's not the most consistent, Felix. Sometimes he's just not feeling it. Sometimes if it gets a bit windy, he's not that great either, which is what happened in Canada. Very windy day, couldn't handle it. But given how these two serve in the conditions that we've got here, you would certainly be interested in set 1 overs. As I say, over 10.5 is plus 170. That's probably where I'd go in this one.
Set 1 overs is the lean for Rinderknech against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Just the one official play on the Mannarino Paul match. 2 more matches to come. But if you are liking what you hear on these shows, then you have to sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine as well. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. And the newsletter will be out tomorrow morning with soccer picks and tennis picks, I'm sure, from all the handicapping team here at Because We Win. Also follow us on our socials at Because We Win is the page for Instagram and X. Okay, the next match, Joao Fonseca, a very fortunate, very lucky Joao Fonseca, who's come through a match against He shouldn't be here. Alessandro Davidovich Fokina should have put him out, but obviously injury meant that the Spaniard had to retire. He was a set, and it was going to serve in the second. It only tells the tale. Yeah, I was going to say it only tells the tale of the match, which Sean will break down in a minute. Fonseca is a very lucky man. He's -$4 to beat Atmane. $3 for Atmane. Spread is 3.5. Total here is 21.5. This is the first time the two of them have met. Now, about 6 months ago, Sean, we were talking about Fonseca, and I was massively bought into the hype. I thought he was going to be an absolute superstar tennis player. I'm holding a 66-1 voucher on him to win the US Open, thinking that he'd probably be around about 16-1 by the time it started at Flushing Meadow. I was very wrong. Talk me into some kind of positive that I may have a chance at in New York in a few weeks.
Okay, that's going to be difficult.
No, that silence has answered 1,000 questions.
Be difficult. I mean, yeah, we know he's got the ability, but he's 18 years of age. I said it a while ago. He's not just going to come in and start winning massive tournaments off, straight off the bat. He's 18 years of age. It's unless you're an absolute world. I mean, even Alcaraz, I don't think he was winning massive tournaments at 18. I don't recall it. Someone will probably say he probably did, but I don't recall him doing it at 18. I mean, the development is needed. Obviously, the game is very tough for anybody, but especially for a kid coming through in the spotlight that he is. Everyone looking at him. But yeah, he was fortunate to get through against Davidovich, as you said. Set and fall of down Fonseca, and then Davidovich struggled with injury. I don't know whether it was illness or injury. I think it was injury because he retired last week as well, didn't he? I presume it was the same thing. I know it was very hot and humid, but a set and fall of up, you would be able to see that out, even if you were feeling slightly ropey. I don't know, take a medical time out, have a couple of pills or whatever. But this is obviously some sort of physical issue that he couldn't deal with. Davidovich lost the next 5 games and then retired. And Fonseca said after the match, in the first set, I wasn't playing my best. I wasn't feeling my technique. I stayed in the match with my serve. In the tiebreak, he was playing great, and he was absolutely destroying me at the beginning of the second set. So this isn't a Fonseca that's going to come in here with much confidence. He knows he shouldn't be here in the next round. As I say, he's learning under the spotlight of everybody. The pressure of having a ticket from Nigel Seeley on him to win the US Open, it's potentially affected him. I don't know.
Affects a lot of people at the moment. Trust me.
Sometimes he plays brilliantly, and that's where people are thinking, like yourself, and lots of others are thinking, well, this guy, let's get in early and we get a good value on this guy. He's going to be the best or whatever. But other times he just doesn't. He's not, and he's learning. He lost to School Kate in straight sets last week as a heavy favourite, and he's lost 6 of the last 12 matches when he's been priced up as favourite, and often heavy favourite, not just marginal favourite, but he was -$5 or thereabouts to beat School Kate, for example. So a lot of people would have lost a few quid on him, betting him just on talent, thinking, yeah, he'll beat him easy. It's not always that simple on the tour. If we look at, his stats are pretty good. If you look at what he's done at main level and outdoor hard this season, 60% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 101. It's pretty respectable, and you can see why he's favourite for a lot of these matches. It is based on what he can do on his day. But on the other side of the net, the French lefties are going well so far. Mannarino, Humbert, Atmane, they're all in round 3 and playing well. And Atmane does remind me a lot of Humbert, the way he plays. Also, the way he handles his matches. He switches off, he loses concentration. For a set, he's brilliant. The next set, he's awful, which is similar to Humbert. Loses focus, which is why this one feels to me like an overs match. Both of them are likely to have fluctuations in their form. We know Fonseca has all year. We know Atmane does on a regular basis. Probably should have lost last night to Caboli. Caboli should have served it out, but didn't. So over 22.5 games, even money, I think it was when I looked earlier on. We can take over 21.5. I think that's where I'd go in this one. I feel this is going to be a bit swingy.
Yeah, a swingy match, a long match. As we said, Fonseca is only 18, and when myself and Sean were 18, we were partying in the Tenerife for the 1990 World Cup, weren't we? We were both out there.
I wasn't in Tenerife 1990. I was into the rave scene. 1990.
Can't imagine you being
1991.
like into the rave scene. I can't have it as you like.
But I'm like,
into the acid house kind
it wasn't
of rave
acid
scene.
house. It was more the dance stuff. It was slightly after. Acid house was more sort of.
You don't like dancing. You don't like
now,
dancing.
I'm
You
like
don't like
50
nothing.
odd years of age. But when,
But you was dancing, raving all night, were you?
Yeah.
Like proper.
yeah,
Wow.
not 18.
Wow. I was
not
in
18, but 19, 20.
Wow.
I was burned out by 21. But
I was like the in-betweeners in Tenerife with my England third kit on.
What's England
watching
third
the 19... you remember the 1990
Yes.
World Cup, the blue one?
Was that the third
third
kit?
one.
So what was the
That
away
was the
kit?
third kit, yeah. The away kit was red. The white, one, the red one, and the blue was the third.
I remember the blue
Yeah,
one.
I was,
For some reason, I remember Stuart Pearce in it.
quality.
I don't know why.
Yeah, quality. Well, anyway, enough of reminiscing. As we are now woken up by dogs, children, various different things going on in our lives. Which, and going to bed early at 9:30 to make sure we get up here on time.
That's it.
Taking many tablets. Gaviscon on the side of the bed for indigestion. Very different life. Very different life. Okay, let's move on to our final match. It's Francis Tiafoe up against another big serving left-hander, a Frenchman as well, in Hugo Humbert. Francis Tiafoe, the American who thrives in these big matches. He gets the crowd going. They will be very, very on his side here. Crowd favourite is Big Foe. He's minus 167 against the Frenchman. Humbert is plus 135. Spread is 1.5. And total here again is high. It's 23.5. There has been 3 meetings between the two of them. They met here in Cincinnati in 2021. Tiafoe won 7-5, 7-6 in a banger 11-9 tiebreaker in the second set. Humbert won in Delray Beach, and the last time previous to that they played was in 2019. The next gen, not really important. Really, it's a long time ago. 4 years was the last head-to-head, but it's quite relevant because it was here. 2-1, the lead for Big Foe. The Americans are going to get behind him. He's a big crowd favourite. He loves these big matches. But you've got a kind of a French feel today. You think the Frenchman might put up a show? It's a bit of a va-va-voom kind of show here, Sean. You think that Humbert can give a Big Foe a little bit of a test?
You know what? I want to bet on Humbert here, but a couple of things put me off. The first one being the fact that I'm not sure that he's fit. Let's just look at this match, assuming that Humbert is fit. Then that's a good price, plus 135, because Tiafoe's not playing well for me. He's kind of scratching through matches. He didn't serve well. He returned well yesterday against Calvert, but he didn't serve well at all. I think he's desperately trying to get ready. He keeps saying that he wants to win the US Open. I like that. It doesn't seem that likely that he will, but
so do I. I'd desperately want to win the US Open.
You want Tiafoe to win the US Open? You bet him, have you?
No, I'd like to win it.
Right.
He's got no chance of winning the US Open, has he? Come on, let's be fair.
Well, I know he probably won't. It's highly likely that he won't, but I like the fact that he's thinking that he will. A lot of players come into these tournaments and just think, well, there's $100,000 for first round loser. I'll have that. He's not doing that. Maybe he's got ideas above his station. I don't know, but from a Tiafoe point of view, you got to think you can win it. He's gone pretty close before semi-finals and stuff. Anyway, the point is he's saying he wants to win the US Open. And he is trying desperately hard, but I just don't think he's playing that well at the minute. That's one thing that puts me off. The other thing that puts me off is his record against left-handers is really poor. If we look at just the head-to-head with Humbert, first of all, forget the next-gen thing, 'cause it's played with totally different rules at the end of the season. It's basically another glorified ATP exhibition.
I won't get you started.
No, don't get me started on that. It's the head-to-head on the 2 hardcourt matches, 106-94 in favour of Humbert. Both played on hardcourts. All right, they were a while ago. Perhaps not overly relevant, but still concerning if you're thinking of backing Tiafoe, minus 167. Humbert's held serve 90% of the time against Tiafoe. Tiafoe winning only 30% of return points, and that struggle on return has been a common theme for him against left-handers. Tiafoe's actually lost 12 of his last 15 matches against left-handers in the last 2 years. And you're asking me to bet him at minus 167 against, well, you aren't, but Bet Rivers are asking me to bet him at 167 against a very good left-hander. He's only won 33.6% of return points in those matches in the last 2 years against lefties. It's nowhere near good enough for him to be that price. So I want to back Humbert. However, I don't think he's fit. He's had an awful lot of injury problems this season. he obviously had that hand injury for a while. That's all right now, but he's done his back again. And he said after the match that he played against Common Wong, was it Common Wong? Yeah, it was. He said before Toronto it was complicated. I hurt my back and it was impossible for me to go on a court. I couldn't do anything for a week. I arrived in Cincinnati and I only played an hour a day. It wasn't until Friday, so a couple of days ago, that I played for an hour and a half. So I didn't really know how it was going to hold up. I told myself to be calm, to serve well. If the ball comes back, to try and give it a go. It doesn't sound like he's in the best of condition, does it? He sounds like he's just turning up, hoping to serve his way to victory and not get involved in any rallies. Doesn't want the ball to come back. That's what puts me off. Betting Humbert at plus 135. Excuse me. The other issue is Humbert is a bit dodgy in America. He said a few times that he doesn't like the food. He's got issues with his stomach. He has to. Do you remember I told you he takes a chef with him to the American swing because he doesn't trust any of the food. Bit strange, but there you go. That's a kind of a side issue. The main worry is the back. If you think he's going to be all right, if you think he's going to be fit, because sometimes these players do over exaggerate their issues a bit, then you would bet Humbert plus 135. You can't bet Tiafoe at minus 167. I'm pretty sure you'll probably get a bigger price in play. Maybe if Humbert takes the lead, then bet Tiafoe on fitness. But have a look, see what you think about Humbert after the first few games or whatever. If he looks all right, then he's worth a bet as underdog, I think. But yeah, I want to bet him, but I'm just put off by the back injury.
Yeah, so small lean for Humbert. Look at the Humbert markets, but injury does put Sean off. So of the 4 matches we have, there is only one official play for tomorrow's action with Bet Rivers in Cincinnati, and that is the Mannarino match, isn't it?
Yeah, plus 1.5 sets. Mannarino just got to win a set, plus 170. Seems a big price to me.
Yeah. Plus 170 Mannarino. And if you followed all our picks so far for the tennis season, we are plus 13.68 units with plenty more tennis to come. Obviously, we've got Cincinnati this week. We're going to try to do some shows later on in the week as well with scheduling. We have a live show on the US Open draw with myself, Dustin Fox and Mitch Michaels. We're looking at the draw as it breaks like we did for the French Open. A lot of you join us for that show. Looking forward to that. And then we go into the US Open. So it's going to be our busiest month on this channel. And the start of the Premier League is on Friday, where Liverpool, the champions, host Bournemouth at Anfield. So everything you have here will be covered for you. If you're a tennis bettor or a soccer bettor, this is the place for you. Obviously, if you're stateside and you like your basketball and your baseball, we have you covered on that as well. For my American team, every day, Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Fast Break, and Betting Weekly Hardball. Finally, before I shoot off, please subscribe to that newsletter. BettingWeeklyStudios.com is where you want to go for that. Lots of exclusive tips from all the team on there. And I'm sure there'll be lots of tennis action available on the newsletter and the Insider as well. Sean, thank you very much for getting up nice and early to accommodate me, because I'm at a barbecue this afternoon and I needed to do it nice and early. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take out for a little walk. Enjoy the sunshine. Spend some quality time with the family. Go strawberry picking or something like that.
We did do blackberry picking a little while ago, actually, about a week or two ago. Yeah,
there you go. Lovely,
gentle fun.
Lovely. Until you ate,
he doesn't eat them.
Ate so many strawberries that he was sick or something.
He doesn't eat the blackberries. He just likes picking them.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. If you're going strawberry picking, blackberry picking, going out with your family, barbecue like me, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back next week for more tennis action here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Take care.